Getting in it for the money like take 5. Take something off the grapevine, twist it like gang signs. Or you can bag it, try to make your profit back. You can earn a couple stacks if you move it out to that. Bad fun without making a young guap. When the time came, made use of them long socks. And then I met my man D from the barbershop, looking for a place to keep the cop. I said, let me indicate this indicas and cannabis sativa. But just be careful when you pass it to a chief. If you can't break up the memory, then I'ma have to teach you. And please use precaution when you handling the reefer.
So I spark fire. I split the black down the middle like apartheid. Grew up on the bar side, hip hop was on my heart line. See, when am I riding, when am I side, it's my heart line. I'm wide open, so I ain't trying to pass it up. Violent perps, Uzi Kush, they keep gassing us. I call that shit pussy pit. I'm from a place to get your stussy stripped if you want some pussy shit.
Jovan Scott, aka Joey Badass, born January 20th, 1995. In today's feature, we'll talk about the perception that Joey Badass has fallen off. As you know, Joey Badass is a rapper that blew up around 2012 behind a nostalgic sound in the perfect time where hip-hop was looking for new blood after acts like Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Eminem, and others that dominated the early 2000s were at the end of their run. New York at the time could have also used a jolt of new energy heading into a new era, and Joey Badass seemed like the perfect fit. He released his first video recorded freestyle on YouTube when he was just 15 years old that went viral and led to the beginning of the career he has today. He, along with friend the late Capital Steez, were the face of something different called the Pro Era, which were a group of young kids with the minds of wise adults from a past time, but with new ideas and advanced goals. People took to this new phenomenon because it was really the first time since the 90s, early 2000s, you saw kids 15, 16 years old rapping in typical boom bap sound, but in the modern era like Joey and crew were doing. Beyond that, these kids seem to have an aware head on their shoulders as their music encouraged streams of thought into the things going on in the world today and how they as young black men fit into society. His debut mixtape 1999 solidified that Joey had something worth paying attention to. Complex magazine named it a top 50 mixtape of 2012 and Hip Hop DX called it the best mixtape of the year. Joey started to take off and step forward in the group Pro Era, especially after the death of his friend Capital Steez to an alleged suicide. 2012 and 2013 were huge years in what shaped Joey Badass as he became more popular in the industry through collabs with other artists like Mac Miller and A$AP Rocky. He even reportedly had a deal on the table to sign with Jay-Z and Roc Nation, which he declined in favor of staying independent and owning 100% rights to his music. Although Joey was making a name for himself in the industry, it seems he never really took advantage of it musically, as maybe other aspects of art became more important to him over the years. His first studio album didn't release until 2015, 3 years after he was at his hottest. Although a good project, it didn't stamp Joey as an artist marketable enough to call an upcoming star, and his career since have bordered just about on that line. So did Joey Badass even get on to have the perception he fell off? Or was he just an okay rapper that never had the chance to be the best in the game? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Joey Badass is a rapper from East Flatbush, Brooklyn with Jamaican and St. Lucian heritage. Like mentioned, he knew he wanted to become a professional artist from a young age, even choosing a high school he could go to and focus on acting, specifically roles that would involve music. Little that he knew, life would change drastically when he stumbled on fame at 15 in 2010 when he freestyled on camera and it was picked up by popular blog site World Star Hip Hop. American music entrepreneur Johnny Shipes saw the freestyle and offered to become Joey Badass's manager, and things took off. Interest was as high as could be for a crew like Pro Era carrying the torch for quote-unquote real hip-hop. His song 95 Till Infinity is still my favorite song by him, where you could feel the hunger and real pure hip-hop fans exalted him for and expected more of. Stunt number 1, industry backing. The first reason I believe one may think or feel Joey Badass fell off was because of a decision he made early on not to sign with a label or major rapper with a label that could guide his career like a Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Kanye West, Eminem, even Dr. Dre, and remain independent. The great thing about being independent is you get to own your own time. That means everything you do within the 24 hours a day that you consider creative and worth being sold to the masses, you get to keep and own control of what happens to it. No matter how good a record deal seems on paper, they're never made for the artist to receive adequate value for his work. Labels are in business not to make you rich, but to increase their portfolio of assets off the back of the creator. Many sign off on this because in return, labels give an artist just starting out just what he thinks is needed. Exposure, connections to the industry that can produce the ideas you have, and most importantly, money you don't have at the time. You're also now backed by a face that knows the other faces and has reputation and relationships with the biggest and best of whatever you need to create your art. Producers, artists, directors, videographers, graphic designers, you name it. If you're an artist that's naturally popular or have good music, that could actually work in your favor. Another avenue to get that backing is by signing with an already established rapper or producer with influence like Jay-Z or Dr. Dre, as his stamp of approval alone can propel your career. Joey Badass decided to remain pushing his pro-era brand himself, along with a small team, only using labels like Cinematic for distribution deals and advertising here and there, but no major deal like the J. Cole's, Drake's, and Kendrick's were doing that pushed them to another level musically and made them household names. With no big name rapper backing him and no Universals or Def Jams, there was only so far his music could go. Stunt number 2, the it factor. Another reason I believe Joey Badass lost some of the steam he had in the early 2010s was because he has nothing that jumps out at you that makes his name stick around long enough to keep interest. He's never been the most controversial rapper, saying things online to evoke conversation or response, negative or positive, and you never see him engage in rap beefs that capture a moment in the culture and forces his name to be talked about. Not that that's necessary to being a rapper that's respected, but at the end of the day, hip-hop is still entertainment. What does Joey Badass do outside of making cool songs that's considered entertaining? He did have a small dust-up with Troy Ave on Wax that was interesting but kind of faded away with no real climax or resolve. It just went away. Even musically, he doesn't make music for the mainstream per se, and for a long time at the beginning of his career, his music has actually been anti-mainstream and anti-popular opinion. Yes, nostalgic and an interesting trip down memory lane, but after the excitement of that dies down, what's next? He released his debut album 2015 to positive reviews by hip-hop sites and average reviews to ones outside the culture like Rolling Stone, who gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, and The Guardian giving it 2 stars. It sold 54,000 copies first week and kept Joey Badass at bay as still an interesting concept, but just not enough of whatever it is that makes an artist crossover and really blow up. Stunt number 3, rap was never his focus. Another huge reason you see Joey Badass disappear from music from time to time and in almost 10 years has only 2 studio albums is because he never saw himself as the best rapper alive or even a rapper. Since the 8th grade, Joey knew he wanted to be an actor and one day had the bright idea to use rap to give him the stage to get there. When his name was finally at the level he could pursue acting, he did, and the music was left as secondary. Since 2014, when he debuted on short film as himself, then moving on to television, most well-known the Wu-Tang and American Saga documentary as Inspector Deck, and unique in Power 3 Raising Kanan. Those, along with working on other films, has had Joey busy over the years as priority number 1. Not every rapper you see come into the game come into it with the same aspirations, just like in other professions. A person working a 9 to 5 may say, when I get to this point financially, I'd like to change course and do this. While another might say, I want to stay and become the manager of this company and possibly CEO one day. Joey Badass never wanted to be the most popular rapper or best rapper alive or most controversial. He used rap as a vehicle to what he really wanted to do, and here we are. All in all, with that said, can I say Joey Badass fell off if I know rap was never the goal? No. He never fell off because by choice he never really got so far on. What he was able to do was create a world he wanted to live in where he could still create art in any one of those lanes. There's no pressure because he's had success and continues to in the career he's always wanted. Would fans like more music? Of course. Just understand, when it comes, whenever that is. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.